Hello. Marietta back with another video. How y'all been doing today? I pray that all is well. But y'all know, today I want to talk about the homeless living and people living in the RV. People living in the RV. You know, people living in these RVs is really beginning to be something that people are starting to normalize and try to make it like as if it's normal, as if it's something that they really just wanted to do. You know, back in the day, people would get in an RV and they would go on vacation, and they would do it because of the fact that that's what they wanted to do, and it was nice to be able to travel, and it was like, you know, recreational type thing where you could just take your family, just go enjoy the day. But now it's become a normal way of life for a lot of people. A lot of people are ending up in these RVs, and these RVs are now what they're calling home. They have truly begin to normalize and make excuses for why we're out here in these RVs and why people are living in these RVs, instead of facing the fact that the system has truly failed us. The system has truly failed us. The more people that end up in these RVs that are out here homeless, that are just, you know, moving around endlessly day after day after day with no place to rest their feet. We cannot normalize this because it's not normal. It's not normal. We need to really just speak out about it and be able to say, you know, some people do go out because of the fact that they are financially able to do that, and they just want to venture out, and they have been put in this situation because it's what they wanted to do. But then you got so many that are put in this situation against their will. I mean, when I did my research, I found that there are 771,400 people that are homeless in the U.S. today, right now, that are actually homeless. 484 of which are now living in RVs and trying to make this home, and have given up on the traditional home, the traditional way of living, the traditional house, and being forced to live in a way that is not beneficial to nobody, because of the fact that nobody truly wants to be able to live this way, especially when you know you have got pushed out, priced out of your own home. You have lost all your belongings. You cannot afford to have a traditional house, and that is never the way it has ever been. This is all new to a lot of us, and it's scary, and some people are out there and they're afraid of being out there on the road like that. And then you got the elderly that are out there that don't know how to fend themselves, leaving them vulnerable prey for anybody that wants to just use them for money or use them for what little bit they have and take advantage of them out there on the road. And then you got people that are not built to live outdoors like that. They don't know nothing about that type of living. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not made to be crunched up in some RV. And then the fact of the matter is once you're out here in these RVs, let's just call a thing a thing. Where you gonna park it at? Where you gonna keep it at? So many people saying go to RV parks. You know, RV parks are very expensive. You come to find out that living on the road can be just as expensive as living in a house, to tell you the truth, because you still got to buy all those things that you need. You may be buying them in a smaller scale, but it can cost you a lot. And then you could be one paycheck away from that vehicle breaking down to the point where now you got shop repairs because you're using that vehicle so much on a daily basis, putting so many miles on that vehicle, and then you have no place to go while that vehicle's being fixed. So many people are in that situation right to this day and don't know how they're going to make it. And it does not surprise me that more people are headed in this situation as these evictions take place, as these rents go up, as the fact of the affordable housing is just out of reach. It's just out of reach. There's just no affordable housing for the American people to even go into. They cannot afford it. And it's not just poor people. You got people that are working, literally working class people. You got people that are making six figures. You got people that are out there working regular warehouse jobs, regular UPS, FedEx. I've talked to some of them, even the ones that come to deliver my stuff here. There's a gentleman that come to deliver my stuff here every now and then, and he said the same thing. Even with what he makes, him and his family now maybe get ready to be forced to be living in their car. They may have to go to their car because of the fact that the rents are going up and the evictions are still coming, and people cannot afford it. And to buy an RV, RVs are not cheap either. And then you buy one that's used, and you buy one that's somebody else's problem, and that thing breaks down on you, and now you really got a bigger problem because you can't just leave it parked anywhere. You cannot leave it parked anywhere, so you have to find a place to put it. Hold on. I mean, because you look at the fact the average American right now can't afford a $500 or $600 repair. They cannot afford a $500, $600 repair and be able to function and still be able to sustain the living conditions that they have when you're already out here in these RVs. RV life is not easy at all. Living in a van, living in a car, living whatever life you're doing, it is not easy at all, because then you got to worry about getting that knock. You got to worry about where you're going to park. And if you go into these parks, if y'all do the prices on these parks or how much it costs to stay in an RV park for a month, to be able to park and be able to stay there and to be able to close to where you need to go to work, because like I said again, everybody that's in these RVs are not people that don't work. You got the working class that are out there now, and you got the middle class folks that are out there in these RVs because they have gotten priced out of their home. And once you get priced out of a home, it's hard to get into another home, because look how much money you got to have to walk into another place at this time. Once you lose your place, you're actually out there to fend and function for yourself. And parking that RV is not like something that you could just hide, because those are not little vehicles. Those vehicles are big enough that people can actually spot those vehicles a mile away, and you can't just slide them into anybody's development or park them on the side of the road and that type of thing. When you're out there and you're trying to save money and you're trying to make what little bit money you have make ends meet. But it just seems like the American people are getting pushed above their breaking point, and some of them are in a place where now they're about ready to snap because they don't know what to do, don't know where to go. It's almost being like a rat in a box. They done pushed me to the point where I done lost everything. They done sold everything. They're selling their furniture, they're selling their homes, they're sizing down, they're getting rid of clothing, they're getting rid of everything they possibly can, to the point where they got most of their stuff now are being put in the little bags and little boxes just to fit in this little RV. When you're talking about a family that's coming from a 3-4 bedroom home and they got kids, and then the kids are out there, kids are losing their bedrooms, and it's a lot of stress on people to be trapped up in these little RVs, and they got to figure out how to make it, and the kids want to be able to have their own room, and they don't know why they don't have their own room no more, but they're stuck in this little RV, moving where, going where, or getting a knock and have to wake up in the middle of the night and figure out where else you got to move. People are tired, y'all. People are tired. People are tired. They don't know exactly what to do or where to go from here. I mean, because we're seeing the unthinkable. We're truly seeing the unthinkable right now, and nobody knows exactly what to tell somebody to be able to function through this, or even how to make it through this, because we don't know how to make it through this. We don't know what's going to happen next. From one day to the next, you don't know what's going to happen next. And so you're lucky enough to get out of your car and get an RV, because see, they look at it like, if they get out of the car, they can get more space if they get an RV. Not knowing an RV going to cost way more to fix if it breaks down than that car is going to cost. A lot of times it's like saying to find somebody to fix that car would be a lot cheaper than to find somebody to fix that RV, and a lot quicker. But them RVs, when they go into the shop, with the rate of the fact of the RVs are skyrocketing right now, y'all. The RVs are on an all-time high. Even they are getting priced in a way that you may not be able to afford them either. And you have to keep buying them used. And when you buy them used, you don't know what you're buying. You're buying them off of these lots that people, I mean, I've seen some outside on the road, even here where I live at, I've seen them on the road, and I mean, they look hideous. They look hideous, but yet still, that's a place for somebody to be. That's somebody's home. That's all somebody could afford. But yet still, because they will judge it by the way it looks on the outside, and they'll say it's junk. They'll say it's trash. They'll say they don't want it in their neighborhood. They don't want it on the side of the road. They don't want it anywhere. But yet the people that live in that place are human beings, and they have no money to be able to move it anywhere. They don't have nowhere to go. They don't have nowhere else to call home. The RVs have become a home to a lot of these people, and the fact of the matter is the RV dealerships now know that, so therefore they are now skyrocketing their price. Now they're going to capitalize off the fact that people now are homeless, and this is their chance to make some money. So now even the price is going up on every single lot you see, or even when you go to buy used, they're going to make it so you got to pay top dollar. It's like price gouging at its best. They can charge what they want to charge right now because the demand is so great. The demand is so great for these RVs now that these RVs can be priced at whatever they want to sell them at. And it looks to me like they're taking advantage of that, because people got to have some place to stay. They just got to have some place to stay. They just got to have some place to stay. Nobody wants to be out here in the rain. Nobody wants to be homeless walking up and down the street all day long. Been there, done that. And it is scary. And it can be cold. I mean, you think of the fact that right now the people got to think of the fact that the weather is changing. We get ready to go into the coldest months of the year, get ready to come up. The holidays. It's getting ready to get cold outside. Just think about that for a minute. And think about families with children out there that's cold, with no blankets. Out there with no coats. Out there in a car, cramped all up. trying to run the car to keep the car, keep them from freezing. But yet and still, they're running out of gas. Yet and still taking a chance for the carbon monoxide because the car is not at its greatest. People trying to park RVs where they can so they can save as much money as they can to stay alive. They scrambling for survival right now. People are in survival mode. They are truly in survival mode. It does not look like this situation is going to get any better anytime, and there's going to be more people out there on the side of the road, more people homeless, more people looking for a place to stay, more people looking for an RV to climb into, but yet the RVs are out of reach for its price range. They're steady going up. They're steady going up in price. If and so you have noticed this, please type it in the comments. Let us know if you've seen the RV price, if you know of anywhere where people can get RVs in your area where they're not so expensive. Because from what I'm seeing, they're expensive everywhere. Everywhere I look, I could be riding down the road and I'll see one on the side of the road. It's got a great big sign on it. They make sure you see the sign too, because they want somebody to come and buy it, because they know that they can get top dollar for it, even if it's old. As long as it's on the side of that road and it's old and it's running, they know they can get top dollar for that RV, because somebody's going to need it, because they know that the people are being pushed outdoors. They're being pushed out of traditional houses, so they're not going to be able to live in these houses. And like I told y'all, don't sleep on them manufactured homes. These trailer houses, do not sleep on them right now, because right about now these trailer houses are more desirable right now because they are affordable. If you have a job and you can't afford a traditional house and you see yourself to a place where you can get yourself a manufactured home, a trailer house, a mobile home, grab yourself a mobile home and put you and your family in it on your own piece of land, and begin to try to figure out how you're going to make it through this, because this thing is getting worse. It's really getting worse out here. I'm seeing all the people in RVs in my area. I'm seeing the people as I go down the highway. I'm seeing the RVs being parked underneath of trees in the parking lots of grocery stores and Walmarts and things of that nature, where people just park way off in the back side of the store, and you can see them out there trying to feed their kids and they're eating. And it really is so sad. It's so sad, because how did we get here? How did we get to this? How did we get to this in America? You used to hear people always say they couldn't wait to get to America. Remember, they even did a movie, Coming to America. Now, nobody wants to come to America. Everybody's talking about they're running from America because of what's happening in America. Because this is really getting bad. It's really getting bad. So many people are ending up in the street, cannot afford to get a place, cannot afford to get a home, cannot afford to go into a traditional house. The cost of living is costing way too much. So RV living has become the most desirable way for people to live, and to be able to go to their cars, go to their vans, go to the RVs, but then they have no place to park these vehicles. You got people that have been living in RVs for 3 and 4 years, some by choice and some by force. That's the thing. It's one thing if that's your choice, but if you should not be forced to have to live in an RV because you've been priced out of your own you've been priced out of your own house and priced out of your own state, where you can no longer live in America. You can no longer live here because of the fact that you've been priced out, and there's no place else for you to go but to use all your assets to be sleeping inside of a vehicle for how long? For the rest of your life? Can we imagine that? Just think. Just think. Can this be the normal? Can this be where we're headed for the long haul? I mean, can we even imagine and fathom that we'd ever be to this point where we look around and see where there's no homes whatsoever, where you can't even go and rent a house because the houses market is way too high? And then when I look around and I see people in RVs on the side of the road, elderly on the side of the road, husband and wives, 70 and 80 years old on the side of the road in an RV, still trying to make it, trying to live, trying to survive, scrounging for survival, not knowing where they're going to lay their head from night after night after night, because they got to keep that vehicle moving so that they won't end up in jail, so they won't end up locked up, so they won't end up sick. It's really terrible. My heart goes out to the people that are out there on the road. Because like I said, if you've never been homeless and you've never been about that life, you haven't a clue what these people are going through out there. But if you've ever been out there, and if you've never been out there and you get forced out there, God knows it's a hard lesson to learn. Some people may be thinking that, oh, I can do this all day long, I can do this. But when you got kids and you're sick yourself, and it comes down between you paying the electric bill, or you paying the light bill, and you buying your medication, or you paying the mortgage and you got to buy your medication, you got to choose between one or the other, or you buying food with the price of the way food is, and you see all your money being depleted, and the only answer you got is to get an RV and try to get into that. But yet and still, you know, if you buy that RV, you already know what it's going to cost you to be in that RV, because you still got to go to the laundromat, are met. You still got to go to the doctor. You still got to go take a shower. You still got to be able to keep food in refrigeration. You still got to be able to make sure that you got enough battery power to keep the generators and all of that going so that you can have air conditioning, heat, and things of that nature, and find somewhere to dump that gray box and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just a lot. It's still a lot. And if you don't know how to do all of that, then what are you to do? What are you to do when you don't know how to do all that? What are you to do when you don't know how to be on your own like that? What are you to do when you have to be forced out of your home, outside, and you don't know how to be by yourself? Because the average person has been separated for so long from other people to the point where you're by yourself. So you got to learn how to fend for yourself. And that's a dangerous place to be, is to be out there by yourself with nobody else and no friends. The average person is out there, from what I'm seeing, it might be one person. They ain't got no friends. They're out there by themselves, or they just out there moving around. And you can tell that they just wandering with nowhere to go. Oh, it just breaks my heart. I'm a very compassionate person. I have a lot of compassion for other people, and it just breaks my heart to know that this is where we're headed as a country. This is where we're headed. This is where we're headed. This is how we're going to have to begin to move, and this is how we're going to have to begin to live. And then we got a lot of our younger people that don't know how to do none of this, or don't know how to live this thing, and they got to go out there and try to figure it out and find their way. And then the elderly, the most vulnerable people out there in these RVs, you know. And like I said, it's so many people. When you think about 771,400 people homeless in the U.S., that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And when you're talking about all the evictions that are about ready to take place, all the evictions that are still to come, and people still getting priced out, all the prices of the homes steady going up, landlords steady raising the rent on places, homes are steady being priced out of the reach of the average American person's paycheck, because they're not making enough to rent these places. They're not making enough to go into these places, to stay in these places. So they already know. And it's a shame, because what do you do when you got to conform to this way of living and then you don't have a voice? You don't have a voice. You don't have a voice in this situation. It's painful. It's painful. One time there, they used to always say that, you know, listen to the people. Let the American people speak. Listen to the people. It's the people's voice. Now it's no longer the people's voice. No, it's no longer what the people say. Now you just got to figure out. You just got to figure it out and figure out how to fend for yourself. You're left to your own devices right now, so you're gonna have to figure it out. You have to figure out where you're gonna eat, where you're gonna sleep, where you're gonna live, how you're gonna live. And then a lot of people say, "Well, just go buy some piece of land and put your RV on it." Can you? Can you actually buy a piece of land and put an RV on it? Some places you can, some places you can't. Y'all type that in the comments. Are you able to live just like that? All depends on where you buy the land. You know? Everybody ain't meant to live way up there in the mountains, way up there in down your boom territory. Everybody ain't meant to live up there like that. That's depressing to even think about it. Some people just ain't meant for that type of terrain. You got to know exactly where you're going and where you can be safe at. But where is that? Where is that now? If you got to live in an RV and you got to keep moving and you got to keep it moving and you don't know where you're going to wake up from one day to the next. You don't even know if you're going to have enough money to even live one day to the next, because if you got a job, you got to stay around where you got your job, but where you going to park this RV at? You might come back looking for your RV and they done towed it already because you done parked it in the wrong spot. These are some things to think about while y'all out here in these RVs. Drop it down in the comments where you find a safe place to park your RV, where you found it's more affordable. Because a lot of people that are out here right now, I know a lot of you might say, well, go to an RV park. They don't have the money for that. A lot of people don't have the money for that. They have spent and depleted all their savings. All their income has been depleted. And now they're just out there trying to figure it out. Trying to figure out how they can get some money day by day. You hear them on the line. Some of them got GoFundMe pages started. Some of them are just doing straight struggle content, so they're hoping that somebody will reach out and help them. So it's easy for us to say what to do, but you're not in their shoes, and we don't know exactly where they're at and how much money they have spent already to be out there in them streets. I just don't know, y'all. Y'all type it in the comments exactly what you think about this topic and what you think about the RV. Do you know anybody that's doing RV life, and how hard is it, and what the expenses that you have to spend while you're out there doing RV life? Do you find that RV is easier and cheaper than living in a house, or you find yourself spending just about the same or more? Or are you one paycheck away or one meal away from not having anything to eat, or one paycheck away for if you have to fix that vehicle, do you have enough money saved up to fix that vehicle? Are you ready for these cold months as we get ready to go into the winter? We're right now getting ready to go into October. It's about ready to get cold. Are you ready? Are you ready? Is that RV weatherized? Is that RV ready for the cold? Type it in the comments. Let's have a conversation. So, I mean, that's my take on it. And I just want to say the American people living in RVs can't afford homes. American people living in RVs cannot afford homes. So that's my take on that. Y'all just do the best you can. I love y'all. I pray that everyone does what they can do to help someone along the way. Help us all kick the can down the road. And I just thank God for each and every one of y'all. Do what y'all can do to be safe. If and so you've not subscribed to the channel, please do what you can in this season to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 20K, y'all. Y'all know I used to say we're trying to get to 10K. It feels so good to say now we're headed to 20K, y'all. We're headed to 20K, and we can get there with your help, because so many of y'all are watching, but you're not subscribed. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. We uplift, motivate, and inspire. We speak life over any and every situation. And if so you have not turned your notification bell on, please turn your notification bell on at this time so that you will be notified when I drop my next video. Y'all be blessed. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.